Good afternoon, Rudraji. You are not audible.
Yeah, good afternoon, madam, and also.
Sir, am I audible? Am I
You are
clear?
very audible.
Well.
More audible than what is required. Sometimes I'm little joking. Don't get offended because of that.
No, sir. I will take as it is. I will
Sure.
consider it as I have learned.
We are all marine engineers, and
sir.
we cannot change our whatever we learned,
Put it on his age,
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good
Hi,
afternoon.
good afternoon, Sunil Kumar. How are you?
Sunil Kumar ji.
I'm fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Okay, all right. Rajiv is keeping us on our toes.
He is busy. Trying to keep. He actually is looking for time now. He has got only 4 minutes. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, long time, 2 months nearly coming to an end now. Will come to an end soon.
Yeah.
And finale is very good. After 2 days of good rain, there is sunshine today.
Good afternoon, sirs.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Joshi. Nice to see you again in this meeting after the technical meet. Good afternoon, Dr. Yogmala.
Good afternoon, sir. Very good afternoon. Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Arun Kumar.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. It's going to be a very, very invigorating afternoon for everybody. It's nice to see all the young cadets presenting such good papers. We heard quite a few of them in the morning today when the technical paper presentation was going on.
So there is a lot of action for the cadets. There's Nautica going on in Bombay. There's IMO mock session going on. Paper by AEC, DUVT.
Yeah, at least the minds are not idle now. They are all being put into good use.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, madam. Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
And
afternoon.
good afternoon, Dr. Saksha Saab.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sukumaran. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Nice to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Goran sir.
Marada sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ajit. Afternoon, Mr. Kumar.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Nice to see all the stalwarts there.
Um, Dr. Request permission to start, Dr. Mali sir.
Yes, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the grand finale of the second IMO Mock Solution Competition 2022, organized by IMU in association with the DMT Marine Experts Association and the Institute of Marine Engineering, India. You would remember that the first edition of this competition was held last year, with all 6 campuses of IMO participating. It was a satisfied and resounding success, no doubt. And so this year's competition has been expanded to also include the students of IMU, and their level of participation has been extremely encouraging. Like last year, we have 2 subjects. The first is from MEPC, Greenhouse Gases Reduction Strategy, Alternative Fuels. 28 teams participated, and today, after rounds of written assessments, presentations, interventions, etc., there are 6 teams to final on. The second subject was from Maritime Safety, Safety and training aspects associated with various fuels being proposed. 31 teams participated, and after a similar filtering process as that for the MEPC team, today there are 4 teams in the MSc finals. 4 senior veterans of Maritime India are the judges for the competition. They are Mr. M. V. Ramamurthy, who retired from Reliance Industries as President Shipping; Dr. Saxena, former principal of Sulani Maritime Institute; Mr. Dilip Mehrotra, a marine of repute, former Deputy Chief Surveyor to the Government of India and Secretary of the Indian Ocean MOU and former President IMEI; and Mr. Achintya D. Datta, who is presently the Secretary with the Indian Ocean MOU Secretariat. I now call upon Vice Chancellor, Indian Maritime University, Dr. Mali Shankar, IS retired, to please deliver the welcome address. Dr. Mali Shankar.
Thank you. Veterans of the industry, guides and judges of this competition, directors and faculty of the Indian Maritime University, participants in this competition, and each one of those of you associated in this entire exercise. It's my pleasure to be with the maritime professionals who have devoted the valuable time and shared their knowledge to encourage and train the future leaders of India's maritime industry. I think India is rightfully getting back to its attention to the maritime sector as is envisioned in the Maritime India Vision 2030 and taking it forward to 2047. Therefore, the onus is on all of us, and especially the youngsters, the future leaders, to prepare yourselves and endeavor to ensure that the developed countries pay heed to the priorities of the developing ones and also to ensure that we maintain leadership position in the maritime industry in the global arena. India does have the requisite manpower, and Indians are well known for their seafaring traditions. As institutions, we need to provide the appropriate training so that the requisite skill sets are attained by the youth. In the present environment of information explosion on the internet, we need to transform this information into knowledge through practice and live experience. Experiential learning is what is envisaged not only in the new education policy, but also in the policies going ahead to make sure that India stands on its own. The Indian Maritime University initiated this competition last year with a vision to expose the students of pre-sea maritime courses to the activities of the International Maritime Organization, especially to the roles of the member countries in formulating crucial policies and conventions related to world shipping, particularly in terms of training, safety, and environmental protection. The outcome of the first competition in 2021 was not just encouraging, but actually very heartening. And the coordinated efforts of the officers, faculty, and others from the Indian Maritime University, alongside two key organizations, the DMEP Mary Ex Cadets Association and the Institution of Marine Engineers India Mumbai branch, ensured that the institution of two rolling trophies as well as valuable prizes to the teams who perform the best. It is therefore certain that this will be an annual event on the IMU calendar in the future. The IMU decided to involve its affiliated maritime training institutions in the second edition of this competition. It is very interesting, and I'm pleased to note that a large number of affiliated MPIs have taken the first step of participating in this exercise. I look forward to continued participation, improvement in the quality, and increase in the number of competing institutes as the years go by. It is also heartening to note that nearly 50 teams participated from the five designated zones. I appreciate the efforts of the guides who introduced the concepts to the aspirants and of the judges who evaluated the papers submitted and the presentations that were made by the competing teams. My commendation to Sri Rajiv Nayyar for developing the concept and leading the team of the core committee members, judges, guides, zonal and campus coordinators. The appropriate selection of topics and tweaking of the format to meet our requirement deserves special credit. I hope this tradition is carried forward in future years. A special mention to the coordination offered by Mr. Gaurav Agarwal, and a special thanks to Dr. Yogamala, who's taken yeoman efforts. It's been a year-long effort almost in ensuring that we carry this forward and make this a regular feature in the future years. My best wishes to the 10 teams who have been selected for the finals, who will introduce their proposals today in the same manner as the delegates of the member countries do at the IMO session. The interventions by other delegations, as in the IMO format, should add more flavor. I can visualize that few among these young men and women will lead India's delegations to the IMO in future and pay back to the nation what is being invested in them by all the stakeholders today. And before I end, a special thanks to Mr. Ajit Sukumaran for joining us this evening and sparing his time to go through this exercise. Your inputs and feedback would be extremely valuable, not only to the participating teams, but to all those of us present here. We would definitely benefit from your experience. Thank you very much and best wishes to all of us in the next 2-3 hours. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yoga. Back to Mr. Agarwal.
Gaurav, you are muted.
You're muted. You're muted.
My apologies. I now call upon Mr. Rajiv Nayyar, maritime professional par excellence and chief architect of this project, to explain the methodology of today's session and how we have reached it. Rajiv, over to you.
Thank you very much, Gaurav. Good afternoon, Mr. Sukumaran. Good afternoon, ma'am. Mani Shankar, respected judges, dear guides, my core committee members, zonal coordinators, campus coordinators, students who are participating, delegates. I would prefer to call you delegates from now onwards, and all those others who are watching. A good day to all of you. It gives me great pleasure to bring this second edition across. A bit of a background. Last year, we had concentrated on a PPR topic, which was regarding plastic pollution, and also an HTW relevant topic, which was regarding onboard training. While last year the students deliberated on that, this year we thought we will move into the realms of MEPC and MFC. So accordingly, in MEPC, we encourage them to look at various aspects of the pollution, especially air pollution, greenhouse gases, and those which are impacting us not only in uh, terms of the global warming, but also in terms of health, etc., and take up papers which could move forward, especially with the concept of life cycle analysis of fuel coming up at discussion out there, and further work of MEPC, what sort of papers can move forward. So that is what this year the MEPC teams did. The judges found 18 papers qualified for the next round, and I will share regarding the methodology of both MEPC and MSc together. In MSc, considering that MEPC teams were working on this crucial aspect, we encourage them to start thinking about, with so many new fuels coming in, so many changes happening even in existing fuels, what sort of additional safety measures are required to be looked into, and accordingly they were asked to develop papers along that. Here, 12 papers made it to the qualifying round. These 18 and 12 papers in the qualifying round is what were then brought into various sessions to be deliberated upon, keeping that they are delegates representing member states and trying to bring about their point of view to the floor of the House. One deviation which we do, and which is what we felt, especially considering this is also a learning mechanism for the students, the participants, the scholars, and all of us, is that we do allow them to make presentations to do their part, which is not does not happen at IMO floor. There it is only introduction of paper. So these presentations and along with their interventions on these presentations were judged by the judges in both the streams, and with that we narrowed it down to 6 participants in MEPC and 4 participants in MSc, who will now enter the arena in a formal IMO session where they will introduce their paper. So this time, since these are the papers which have come out as the best papers, I wouldn't say that the other papers were not good. I would simply say that these were the best of the lot. And incidentally, all the papers are there on the website of IMU. If anybody does have time, please do feel free to go through those papers. There is a lot of value in what the students also think. So it would be encouraging for them if people could also read through what even other papers said. But presently, now today, first we will start as a MEPC session, where the 6 qualifying teams for the final round will introduce their paper. The team introducing the paper, once it finishes, I will be opening the floor for interventions from the other teams. Each team would have an opportunity to intervene once. Depending on the intervention, there may be a need for the presenting or introducing team to respond to it, that the chair would accordingly advise them, and they would take the floor to either revert on that intervention or just note the intervention. Thereafter, there will be closure of that particular session, and then we will move on to the MSc to deal with the 4 papers in a similar fashion. The judges in the background will be marking them accordingly, and then we will break for a short tea break, and I will let then Gaurav carry on with his introduction of the further program. So, with the permission of the chief guest, with the permission of Dr. Malini Shankar, I would like to commence the MEP session.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So I will call this MEPC session now. Good afternoon, delegates. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this final session on MEPC. With this, I invite Kochi A2 to kindly introduce the paper.
A very good afternoon to you, respected Vice Chancellor, Chief Guest, Honorable Chairperson, dignitaries, and delegates. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to propose our paper to IMO MEPC. We are delegates of A2 Kochi. Our paper is a comprehensive study of alternative marine fuel. This was carried out with regards to IMO's resolution on emission abatement. We have come to a conclusion that out of all possible options, green hydrogen is the fuel of the future. Hydrogen, when used in fuel cell system, does not give out any GHG emission, local emission, and it does not emit any particular matter. In short, it has a net zero emission. It only produces water as its byproduct. When looking into life cycle analysis of green hydrogen produced using renewable energy, we can see that from both well to tank and tank to wake, there is no carbon footprint or any other emissions for that matter. So achieving net zero emission is possible by using green hydrogen. We have also shown a prototype of how an integrated unit of hydrogen system, liquid and compressed gas can be implemented on board. The ISO technical report 15916 gives the basic information on safety issues regarding the usage of green hydrogen as a marine fuel. Strategies we have recommended include establishing green corridors in LDCs and SIDS, as it will help in decoupling trade growth and decarbonization over a period of time. Another important step is to revise the trading model, since hydrogen is a relatively new fuel and there is only little experience in using it. So seafarer must be extensively trained in its behavior, safety measures, risk assessment, and other countermeasures to adopt in any case of emergencies. Adopting CCUS technology as a short-term solution to boost the production in member states having abundance of fossil fuel is also recommended. Support in research and development to be done in order to bring down the overall cost. Moving on to the actions to be taken by MEPC, primary actions requested by the committee are: the committee should continue to provide mechanism for facilitating information sharing, technology transfer, capacity building, and technological cooperation, taking into account Resolution MEPC.22965. The organization is requested to access periodically the provision of financial and technological resources and the capacity building to implement the strategy through ITPC and other initiatives, including GLOMAP project, MTCC network, and Green Voice 2050. The committee should ensure proper regulation and operations of both IMRB and IMRF by considering case by case of individual member states. Most importantly, the committee must promote proper information graphics of IMO resolution regarding the GHG emission, its reduction strategies, and net zero emission goals by a member state. The committee should sanction more and more green fuels relaxation in form of policies or regulations. Coming to the conclusion, the industry is looking for alternative marine fuel to comply with the IMO's resolution to reduce GHG emission from marine industry to less than half of its value by 2050 as compared to the value in 2008. We acknowledge that other alternative marine fuels also contribute in reducing GHG emission to some extent. But if you are looking for a long-term solution to curb GHG emission and eventually achieve net zero emission, using green hydrogen as a fuel is the best way to achieve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, A2 Kochi, and I now open the floor for any interventions from the other member states. I see Mumbai C2 would like to take the floor. Mumbai C2, the floor is yours.
A very good morning to all the delegates, chairperson, and respected committee. So, firstly, we would like to collaborate with Kochi A2 on the idea of green corridor, along with exploring the safeties of so hydrogen as a fuel, so as well as exploring all its potential. Lastly, we would like to congratulate A2 on all the extensive research and extend our heartfelt support.
Thank you, C2, and I'm sure A2 will get in touch. You can do a bilateral talks about it later. Thank you. Kolkata, even the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for providing me with the floor. So, firstly, congratulations, A2, for this research. And I would like to ask the question, what do you think can be the solutions for reducing this exorbitant cost of hydrogen fuel cell? And since we have worked on the same topic and have specified the solutions in our paper, are you willing to collaborate if given the opportunity?
Thank you very much, even Kolkata. Uh, would you like to respond to that, Kochi A2, regarding any specific measures you have? A2 Kochi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving us the floor. Uh, Looking at the economics part of the electrolyzers and the hydrogen as a fuel, uh, to normalize these energy cost of the electrolyzers, we have to stress on the more policies, incentives, and the subsidies for the first movers uh, in such a way that they must be equipped with the all the aids or the requirements to establish the electrolyzers. And although electrolyzers requires uh, precious metals, for our member state researchers have come to the conclusion that they have cheap metals which can be replaced in the high quality materials which have been used in the current electrolyzers that can bring down. And another way is that we can produce a mass production of the uh, electrolyzers. And although others industries have been looking the same thing for greener fuels, so in a sum in to sum up, all are looking for the same goal. So in that way, we have to stress on the incentives, subsidies, and policies on the greener fuels and the electrolyzers. And we would like to collaborate with member state even to in our integrated projects of the green hydrogen and research and development programs.
Thank you very much, A2 Kochi, and it would be interesting to hear about the various uh, advances you want to do in, and if your collaboration also yields further result. I now have Mumbai A3. Uh, Mumbai A3, the floor is yours.
Good morning, all. My question to A2 is, what is your idea on storing the hydrogen fuel? As we know, it is a flammable substance. So, what is your opinion on that?
Uh, Thank you, A3 Mumbai. Regarding storage, would you like to respond, A2 Kochi? In brief a bit, because we can then, I'm sure in the paper it can be addressed, and your technical people can also discuss with A3 Mumbai and advise them regarding storage. A2 Kochi, you would like to respond now?
Yes, sir. Regarding the storage part of, thank you, Honorable Chief Person, for giving us the floor. So regarding the storage part of the hydrogen, we have proposed the two prototypes, and also in the comprehensive study we mentioned the all the other alternative fuels. So uh, to looking at the conventional fuels, for the alternative fuels we have to compromise with the storage space. And even the for material challenges regarding the storage of hydrogen, recognized organizations like NASA, they have been planning for the hydrogen fueled space shuttle. So, and the material challenges regarding the hydrogen storage is paves a way, and it is reduced to the half of the thing because of the researchers have been already been to it. And we have also established the H2 scale and H2 storage programs in our member states in such a way that we have to aid and we have to provide the integrated onboard storage system, so that because hydrogen is truly a new thing for our maritime industry. So we also mentioned in the sections of the our paper also in detail.
Thank you, A2. Yes, your paper does contain these details, but I'm sure you can together work on this and share further technical details so that these issues can be addressed. I have the card of E2 Mumbai up. E2 Mumbai, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Respected Chair, good afternoon. Congratulations for Team A2. So my question is, my add-on to the Team A2's presentation paper is that the production of hydrogen by the process of electrolysis. If the electricity which is used for the electrolysis also is from the renewable source, so you want to consider this source also from a renewable source, then it will be more good for the reduction of GHG.
Thank you, thank you. And yes, I do note you are looking at renewable energy. So yeah, I'm sure this point will be taken well on board by Kochi A2. Uh, Kolkata C1, the floor is yours. I am sorry, Kolkata C1, you require to unmute yourself. No, you're not audible.
So am I audible?
Yes, okay. Take over, Kolkata C1.
Thank you, Chairperson, sir, for providing the floor. Our concern to the paper of Team A2 Kochi is that we would like to know that as hydrogen fuel may require invest time and money into the development in order to improve and mature the technology for supply and demand. So, would it be economically viable in developing countries?
Thank you, C1 Kolkata. And yes, you have raised a valid point about the cost of hydrogen, which was earlier raised, I think, by Kolkata even also. And they agreed that they would work together. There is some philosophy on how to bring down the cost and this thing. I am sure with sharing of information, you can develop out considering the benefits of hydrogen, look at the economical benefits also, how it can be worked out so that it's useful for both developed as well as developing countries. A2, would you like to add anything to that? A2 Kochi, then the floor is yours. Otherwise, we can move on to the next paper. Okay, seeing no further cards on the table, I would now request Mumbai 1 A3 to take the floor and introduce the paper.
Uh, Good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Aman Bakshi and I'm representing country A3. Our country is bringing up with a proposal to reduce greenhouse gas emissions at sea by utilizing waste heat energy and consequently reducing the tank to wake emission factor in the use of fossil fuels. So, as we can see in this graph, that if in 100% of fuel that is burned, around 25% of it is wasted in the form of exhaust gases. Our aim is to utilize the energy in the exhaust gases. Also, if we see the IMO goal, it is seen that it is a goal of IMO. By the end of 2050, they are trying to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions by 50%, and by the end of the century, they want to bring it down to zero greenhouse gas emissions. So, looking into this, we have brought up a process where we are thinking of utilizing vapor absorption refrigeration system for cooling instead of vapor compression refrigeration system. In this, we will be using a refrigerant combination of ammonia and water or lithium bromide and water depending upon the place that needs to be cooled. For example, for rooms that need to be cooled above 0 degrees Celsius, we can use a lithium bromide and water combination. And for the below 0 degrees Celsius, we can use ammonia and water combination. So here we can see in comparison to vapor compression refrigeration system and vapor absorption refrigeration system, the only changes are that instead of the compressor, we are bringing in an absorber, a pump, and a generator. In the generator, the solution is being heated by the exhaust gases coming from the main engine, which is passing through the exhaust gas boiler and then coming to the generator. By doing this, we are bringing down the workload on the generators. We are reducing the fuel consumption we are reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. And also, ammonia is a refrigerant that can be used because it has zero global warming potential and zero ozone depletion potential if in case there are any leakages. We have also thought upon the case of leakages, since to prevent them, we can do what we can do is that we can keep the pressure in the evaporator room, the place that needs to be cooled, at subatmospheric levels to prevent any kind of leakages. And also, the last time when we presented this paper, we had come to a problem that maybe at ports and anchorages that we won't be able to utilize this technique since the main engine will be not working. But upon further research, we have found out that companies like Alpha Label, they have come up with waste heat recovery systems where they are utilizing the exhaust gases coming out from auxiliary engines. So if we club up their ideas with our idea of using a vapor absorption refrigeration system, we can easily overcome this difficulty as well. And the main other thing is that in the vapor absorption refrigeration system, we have seen that it has a low COP, around zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.7, whereas in vapor compression refrigeration system, we have a COP of around 3 to 4. So to increase this COP, we need to do a lot more work upon it. And also to increase the efficiency of the whole system, we can also club it up using heat exchangers where we can utilize heat from the jacket cooling water, or we can also use solar heat energy in the process to absorb heat up the solution. This way, we have really tried to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and I hope that the committee looks into this proposal, and we hope that it gets accepted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mumbai 1A3. Your waste heat utilization concept. Now I'll open it up to the floor. Any other member state would like to respond on this? I see Mumbai 2C2. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving me the floor. Firstly, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mumbai A3 on their innovative solution. At the same time, we would also ask for some clarification regarding the solution, as I'm sure you're aware of this. This is a very VAR system is a very complex system that requires a lot more maintenance as well as takes up a lot more space that would be eating into your cargo space. So to further the solution, we would like to suggest combined the newest solution that's out there right now is a combined dual cycle based on the VCR and VAR system combined. This system would allow for much greater efficiencies than the individual systems, as well as it requires much less space that would allow for more cargo space, obviously. And it has much less maintenance cost as well and functions on the same basic principles of lower GHG emissions and all of that. So we would like to collaborate with you on the solution.
Thank you very much, Mumbai C2. And your proposed that while their system in principle be adopted, it be combined with your thought process. So it will be good if you can collaborate and come up with a solution for the rest of the people to also take it forward. Thank you very much. I see the card of A2 Kochi up. A2 Kochi, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Chairperson, for giving us the opportunity to intervene. Dear Delegates A3, the vapor absorption system is a good concept. However, it is dependent on exhaust heat utilization. So when the vessel is not operational, when the vessel has no exhaust heat available, you might require some additional arrangements, which is again cost consuming and might be accounting for emission as well. So we seek for a clarification on how you'll be dealing on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to respond to that, Mumbai 1A3?
Yes, thank you, respected Chair, sir. Thank you, A2 Kochi, for asking that question. So, as I said, to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, we are not able to reduce it completely. We will be reducing by a significant amount. So for that, first we will be utilizing the waste heat energy that we are getting from the main engine gases. Now, as you mentioned, at ports and anchorages, when the ship is not sailing, that time there are no exhaust gases. But then again, I mentioned that companies like Alpha Level are coming up with waste heat recovery systems where they are utilizing the waste heat energy produced by the auxiliary engines. And if in that case you are saying that if the auxiliary engines are also not producing any exhaust gases, that means there's nobody on the ship at the moment. Then means the ship isn't working here because there won't be any power supply or anything in regard to that, because for a minimum amount of power supply also exhaust gases will be released by a auxiliary engine, and that can be utilized for the VARA system. And like the last delegate who asked the question, who said that we can collab with a hybrid system of vapor compression refrigeration system and a vapor absorption refrigeration system, we can also work on that idea for difficulties like this.
Yes, thank you, A3, for the clarification. I would also request member state to consider it in port and all along with the port authorities, as if supposing there's shore power supply, but such a similar system assists in ports to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions, it could be looked at. So member states could look at that aspect. Meanwhile, I see the card of Even Kolkata up. Even Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir, for providing me with the floor. Congratulations, A3, for this wonderful research. I would like to ask you this question. How will you convince the ship owners to use VARS since its COP is low?
Would you like to respond to that, A3? Mumbai?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ivan Kolkata, for coming up with the question. Everything is going to be, everybody will need to change their thinking process, and they need to come up with better ideas for betterment of the atmosphere, for the environment. We need to come up with innovative ideas. They will require a high amount of investment, a high amount of time to come up with this idea. So yes, we will have to go through that. And as you asked for COP, we can increase it by finding out better refrigerant combinations in the future. But this is going to be a start. This is necessary. This is the first step towards the progress. And also, we, as I mentioned in during showing my paper, that we can utilize solar energy, or we can use the heat energy given out by jacket cooling water to we can incorporate that with the system. So this way, we are thinking of increasing the COP in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mumbai Zone 1 E2, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for providing me with the floor. And a big congratulations to Team A3 for such a research. My question to Team A3 would be, I would require a bit of a clarification on, since you will be using the waste heat provide that is coming out from the main engines. Nowadays, most of the companies or the vessels, they go on with slow steaming. That is to reduce the anchorage stays and to reduce the time delays. They actually go with slow steaming, and the production of the exhaust gas or the waste heat is a considerably lesser amount. So, is that amount sufficient enough for your VR system to be function? Is one of my clarification that I would require on. And also the point that ammonia is a bit toxic and also is flammable. So what are your additional points on dealing with that aspect also? Thank you.
Thank you, E2 Mumbai Zone 1. If yes, what they would be interested is in if there are any limitations. If you don't have the full data right now, maybe you could share it later on and we could circulate it to members. But regarding ammonia, please do go ahead, A3 Zone 1.
Respected sir, thank you. And thank you, E2, for coming up with that question. So to your first question, that during slow steaming, whether there will be enough production of exhaust gases which will be allowing us to go up with the system, yes, maybe it will be less, but we can club it up with other heat exchangers where we can utilize the jacket cooling water high temperature, or we can club it up with a solar power heated heat exchangers where we can utilize this system. So I don't think so that will be a problem during slow steaming, first. And second, as you mentioned that ammonia is toxic, I'd like to mention that ammonia is already being transferred as a cargo in many of the ships in the maritime industry right now. So there are many precautions that are being taken. There are gas detection systems and many other gas sealing systems which prevent this kind of leaks or anything which will be lethal to us human beings. So I guess, yeah, we'll be able to cope up with the system that we have proposed, and there won't be a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I now invite the next team, Mumbai 2C2, to introduce their paper.
Uh, Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving me the floor. We require just a minute to set up. Okay. Thank you, sir. C2 shares its coast. Just a minute. I think this is an internet issue with our internet.
We can see the paper on the screen.
Okay, thank you, sir. C2 shares its coastal waters with Kochi B2 and Mumbai 2D1, and we built on this common interest to further this proposal and comply with all the regulations and bring the proposal into force as soon as possible, according to Article 16 of our present convention. Instead of going through the same definitions of an ECA, I'm sure we're all aware of, we would like to bring a sort of epilogue, if you will. According to MAPOL Annex 6, Appendix 3, Regulation 14, there are 8 criteria for the establishment of an ECA. All of these have been adequately met in different sections of our proposal. Criteria 3.1.1 that refers to the delineation of an area. We propose the establishment of an ECA covering 100 nautical miles from C2, hence including some parts of Pearl River Delta. Criteria 3.1.2, as highlighted in paragraph 1, emission control area for sulfur oxides, hereafter referred to as ECS SOx ECA in accordance with Regulation 14 and Appendix 3 to MAPOL Annex 6. Criteria 3.1.3 that refers to population at risk, as highlighted in paragraphs 18, 19, and 20. 54 significant health impacts are caused by ocean-going vessel emissions are estimated near the coast of C2. Criteria 3.1.4 that refers to the impact on human health and environment, as highlighted in paragraph 22. A study found that global emissions from ocean-going vessels are responsible for an estimated 60,000 premature deaths. Criteria 3.1.5 this refers to meteorological conditions in the area of application. When formulating ship control policies, cities in the northern part of Pearl River Delta should be paid more attention to as compared to the cities in the southern region. Among the four seasons, not only the absolute contribution value of ships in the summer is the largest, but the interannual changes are also the most significant, which requires some special attention. Criteria 3.1.6, as highlighted in paragraph 7, this refers to ship traffic density. 60% of maritime trade passes through Asia, with coastal waters of C2 carrying an estimated one-third of global shipping. 7 out of 10 major container ports are situated near C2 coastal waters. Criteria 3.1.7, as highlighted in table 3, this refers to control measures. Even though there are no technological restrictions according to MARPOL on methods to be used to reduce emissions, fuel switchover is the most viable. Criteria 3.1.8, as highlighted in paragraph 23, 24, and 25, along with table 3, refers to cost benefit analysis. We invite the committee to take note of the information provided in the present document, concur with the conclusions and recommendations of regional experts, and a meeting on the possible designation of ECS SOX ECA as laid down in this document. Consider the proposal put forward by the Secretariat as laid down in paragraph 26 of the present document. At the same time, we would also like to extend a branch to other member states to collaborate with, which will be valuable in helping C2 policymakers better navigate challenges and in leveraging advanced methods to achieve our common goal of a greener Earth. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Team C2. Team C2 has put forward a proposal for emission control area for sulfur oxides and particulate matter. And I now open the floor to the other member states to respond on how they would like to take this proposal forward. I see the card of Evan Kolkata up. Evan Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson sir, for providing me with the floor. First of all, congratulations C2 for this amazing research. And I would like to intervene. Implementation of ECA can increase the total transit time of containers and can also cause potential delay during the arrival of vessels. How can you help us to overcome this problem?
Thank you. Even noted, I would ask C2 if they have done any research on any deviation which vessels will have to do because of this declaration.
Uh, I am aware of what your delegate of E1 is referring to. This is a method route changing is a method that's one of the methods that are used to lower the cost of fuel switchover that would be applicable for an ECA. Obviously, that would incur a certain amount of delay, but all of the research that is conducted on this proposal also makes sure that the delay that's caused due to route switchover would be covered up by the ship when it's out in open sea. There has been extensive research on this, and there have been examples that have been put forward, and there have been ships that have implemented this route changeover policy, and they have covered up their past and they have covered up their time that they've lost in route switchover.
Thank you very much. And what I would suggest is if you could share your data with respect to this with even Kolkata so that they can get the benefit of your research and they could do the checks themselves. Thank you. At the moment, I see no other cards on the table. I'll just give it another few seconds if anybody has any other intervention. I see no views being expressed by other member states, so I will request Kolkata C1 to now kindly introduce the paper.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson Sir, for providing us the floor. Good afternoon to Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, and all the respected delegates present. Our paper emphasizes two topics which focus on empty container repositioning and alcohol fuel cell. Storage and repositioning of containers have crippled the exporters and have created emission-inducing bottlenecks in the supply chain. Recently, Port Long Beach experienced a perfect storm of events that caused emission to raise in San Pedro. One third of all container movements are empty, which is 82 million empty container moving empty port to port. This has affected concern about GHG emission and trade imbalance. Our first proposal to this hitch is such as repositioning empty containers by rail. This initiative can be designed to shorten the equipment availability due to longer turnaround times for empty boxes by road. Our second proposal is about reinforcing port reception facilities and blockchain technology and taking big data to assist. RFID and GPS tracking devices in containers can improve visibility and control by allowing container movements to be tracked. Our third proposal is about inland depots. An inland depot can be used instead of port depot. An empty container can be stored closer to the recipient shipper. Our fourth proposal is about container substitution and collapsible containers. Container substitution, an elastic container registry system, is more flexible according to requirement of container type, and collapsible containers are convenient to stack together for storage and repositioning. Our fifth proposal is about container leasing. Instead of permanently owning the container, a shipping company can rent or lease container according to the storage. And therefore, another proposal on this subject is collaborating with stakeholders to provide more information, space, and flexibility across the supply chain. Now, moving forward to our next proposal, which refers to methanol and ethanol fuel cell. The ethanol fuel quantities and alcohol fuel cell quantities include high energy density, green emissions, convenient liquid fuel replenishment, and ambient operating settings. It is seen a promising power source for the next generation of vessels. Our article relates energy loss to activation through methanol and internal current, ohmic loss, and mass transport loss are discussed, as well as general performance of liquid-fed fuels. Presently, vessels come with dual fuel engines able to operate on green methanol, which sound logistically and safe. Life cycle analysis of fuel can be cheap source of carbon to make fuel, as companies are in process of commercializing an innovative and disruptive technology for converting cellulosic material into ethanol. The United States Five ethanol producing companies produces 45% of world's total ethanol fuel. If this is brought to developing countries, ethanol alcohol fuel cells could carve out a very competitive niche in this fastest growing sector. At last, thank you everyone for patiently listening to us, and now we are open for intervention.
Thank you, Kolkata C1, and I open the floor for intervention. Please clarify whether you intervene on the container aspect or on the alternate fuel aspect. Uh, the floor is open for interventions. Even Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson sir, for giving me this floor. And congratulations even for this wonderful presentation of your paper. So I would like to intervene on the respect of alternative fuels. So can you please elaborate on the production and storage methods of direct alcohol fuel cells?
Okay, you are looking for direct alcohol fuel cells technical inputs. Uh, C1 Kolkata, would you be able to respond to that, or would you require a technical input to be given later on, which could be shared? Could you advise, please?
So I can give I can answer to it.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson sir, for opening the floor. We appreciate team even Kolkata for coming with a great intervention. Nowadays, what is encouraging about methanol fuel is major changes are coming on production side. The infrastructure and technology to safely store, transport, and burn ethanol fuel already, which has been proven and are available. This will put ship owners in a strong position once there will be a cost efficient way to produce green and blue methanol fuel. Emissions associated with creating a fuel can concern about the methanol fuel, but as companies are process of commercializing and an innovative and disruptive technology for converting cellulosic material into ethanol, which can be used as a fuel cell.
Thank you. And if your research moves along, it will be helpful if you could share it so that it could be shared with other member states as well. I see the card of C2 Mumbai Zone 2 up. C2 Mumbai Zone 2, please take the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving me the floor. First of all, we would like to congratulate the delegation of Kolkata C1 on their extensive report. At the same time, we would like some clarification on the point of empty container shifting. What I understand from this is these systems have these systems have no clear visibility of cost. What I mean by this is how you get a charge sheet from a credit card company. There are a bunch of additional costs that you have no idea what's going on about. Similarly, shipping companies have no clarity about what their vendors are doing, what the logistics teams are doing. They have no idea about where the containers are moved, where they're going, and even if it was necessary. So we would like some clarification on that. At the same time, I would like to raise another point about as a result of this container shipping, there's low accuracy in commercial forecast, and there's a lot of unhelpful planning because all of this depends on the gut feeling of the charter. There's no automation in this at the present moment. So how would you tackle all of these problems?
Thank you, C2 Mumbai 2. And if C1 Kolkata can share some of their experience, what they have planned in terms of the logistics flow, I think it could address the things. But I will ask C1 Kolkata if they have understood the question and would like to respond. C1 Kolkata, if you are there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson, sir, for providing us the floor. Sir, uh, I just want to reveal the things about the flow of recently happened. That in recently just APM Terminal Mumbai Gateway Terminal of India GTI introduces a new value added service for customer by providing a rare product to reposition empty containers. The new service is available for shipping lines, inland container depots, ICDs, and container freight stations are also being provided. And I also, in our paper, we have also suggested the blockchain technology, which allow the digital information to be distributed across a network. And we have also mentioned about the IoT devices, which plays a key role here. And also we can publish different information about where containers are needed and where the containers are available. We can share those information for better and efficient process.
Thank you very much, C1 Kolkata, A2 Kochi.
Thank you, Chairperson, for giving us the opportunity. First of all, we would like to appreciate and acknowledge the effort taken by Sivan. The proposal put forward by Sivan is interesting to say the least. However, we would like to seek a clarification on three phases by which all ports would supply shore power to visiting ships. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I am sure you could get this technical information across Kolkata C1. If you could share information on shore power distribution and your experience, it would be helpful to A2 Kochi. So I would leave you to do that. E2 Mumbai, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, respected Chair. I appreciate Team C1. So my question is about the collapsible container. How about the reliability of these containers, sealing, etc., once they are reused?
On the construction aspect, if would you like to respond to that, Kolkata C1?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairperson, sir, for providing us the floor. I appreciate the team for coming with an great intervention. If I talk about collapsible containers, I would like to mention that a company called AAX and ULD have come up with an innovative idea which where collapsible containers can be used in the industry. So these containers are like uh, uh, which uses according to the requirement of container type, and collapsible containers are convenient to stack together for storage and repositioning. So this can eradicate present containers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And if you could share the details of this company, we could let it known to other member states who can then check up if it suits their technical requirements. I see the hand of A3 Mumbai Zone 1 up. I'm going to give the floor to you, but may I remind the delegates, please be a bit brief in your interventions and responses, as otherwise we are going to cut into our tea time. So A3 Mumbai Zone 1, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the platform. My question to C1 is the ethanol is difficult to start in cold weather. So, do you have any idea about that?
The cold start properties of, would you like to respond on cold start properties, Kolkata C1? In the event you require to get back to your technical team, you can advise that you will be getting back to the A3 team regarding that. Okay, we will ask them to get the technical team to respond to your intervention about in cold climate. What I assume, please correct me if I have made any mistake, but in cold climate there may be starting issues. Okay, we'll ask them to get their technical team to advise on that. Now I request Mumbai 1 E2 to introduce their paper.
Good afternoon to the respective dignitaries and respected Honorable Chairperson. This is Team E2 from Mumbai Zone 1 with the topic of the use of marine electric boiler in order to reduce the GHG emissions from ships. As we all know, the current scenario is happening in the marine industry is that we see the use of the conventional oil file boiler during port stays or anchorages. And these being run by the combustion of fuel gives out a lot of emissions like CO2, carbon monoxide, SOx, NOx, particulate matter, etc. So we come up with the proposal of come up with the proposal of the use of a marine electric boiler. As the name states, it runs with the help of electric power. With the help of two electrodes, we use the conductive and resistive nature of water to produce the heat producing steam. This is very safe when compared to the conventional oil file boiler, as only when the water is supplied will it function, completing the circuit. And as we know that in case of oil file boiler, if the flame eye doesn't work and the fuel supply is still on, and when we later on start it, it creates a huge explosion, which creates a safety issue over there. So that is overcome over here since we are using electricity and the steam is being produced accordingly, and it is also very easy to operate and also gives us a hassle-free installation. The fact that the European ports have stated that by 2023, all the European port societies the European ports will be equipped with shore-based power supply or cold ironing as we call it, gives our proposal much more support. So we can power our electric boiler using the shore-based power supply during the port stays. And we had a question in the previous session as to what we would do during the anchorages. But then we said that we could use our own auxiliary engines to power the electric boiler. And to support this idea, we took upon a real-time example and calculated the fuel that is being that is actually being used by the oil file boiler, and compared it with the fuel that the auxiliary engine would be using to power the electric boiler, and it is found that it is comparatively less. So using less amount of fuel, thereby reducing the greenhouse gases again. And the fact that almost 70% of the vessels have now gone towards alternate fuels, and the amount of steam requirement is comparatively very less. I would like to state that this also helps support our proposal of using the oil electric boiler, and to believe that by the use of this electric boiler, it is a stepping stone in the right direction to move towards reducing the GHG emissions. And we request the committee to consider this proposal and take necessary actions, and also look into the shore-based power supply accommodating measures. Thank you.
Thank you, Mumbai 1 E2. I open the floor for interventions. E1 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson sir, for providing me with the floor. Congratulations, E2, for this amazing proposal. So I would like to ask the question, since your proposal conveys that conventional boiler always have some role to play alongside electric boiler, then how are you planning to accommodate two types of boiler with different operational setups on the same vessel given the limited space?
Thank you. Would you like to respond to that, E2?
Sure, sir. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and thank you, team, for the question. So, to answer your question, we would actually be replacing the conventional oil file boiler with the electric boiler. As you mentioned itself, it consumes a lot of space, and we wouldn't like to encroach in the cargo space also. So, by accommodating this electric boiler by itself, it can, run during anchorages. It can run during port stays with the help of the shore-based power supply that is coming up. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're talking of substitution, not of alongside. Well, that is clear. C2 Mumbai, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving me the floor. First of all, we would like to congratulate the delegate of E2 Mumbai for the extensive research. At the same time, we would like some clarification on 2 points. First, First of all, how would you be generating this electric power? As if this electric power is generated by a thermal power plant, the entire efficiency of the system would be much lesser than an individual fire heated boiler. Just so it would negate the purpose. At the same time, how would you tackle the emissions that are generated by generating this extra amount of power to generate this electricity?
I would let E2 respond to that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chitu, for the question. If I'm clear to what you have asked, I believe that the use of the auxiliary engine is why how we'll be powering the amount of electricity that is required for the electric boiler. And apart from that, we'll obviously be using renewable resources with the help of the shore-based power supply that is being provided by the ports in order to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. So otherwise, there is no meaning in, bringing up this, marine electric boiler if it is not being powered by renewable sources. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It is linked to your using renewable power for and facilitating usage of that. I see the card of C1 Kolkata. C1 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson, sir, for yielding us the floor. Sir, we want to express our sincere gratitude to the team E2 Mumbai. And sir, we appreciate the proposal of the usage of shore-based power supply to reduce emission in general and in emission control areas. Sir, but we have concern on the point mentioned on page number 6, point number 18, that the boiler will only come into action during anchorage halts and during port stays. So, sir, how we will sort out the issue of space accommodation, having two boilers, having two different systems associated with it, and how can we make it better coordination?
Thank you, C1 Kolkata, but I think they are relying on the exhaust boiler during the sailing. Unless E2 wants to add anything, the sailing part is taken care of the exhaust boiler if you go through the paper. I think that would be
Rightly
referred
said,
at
sir.
some point. So that should address your concern, C1 Kolkata. As they clarified earlier, they're talking of only one boiler, the oil-fired boiler being replaced by the electric boiler. Please do add on if you want to E2 Mumbai. Otherwise, I will move on to A2 Kochi for their intervention.
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your intervention.
A2 Kochi, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving us the floor to intervene. First of all, we would like to appreciate E2 Mumbai for such a wonderful paper they have created and uh, on the use of electric boilers in place of conventionally used fuel burned boilers. So we would seek for a clarification. How is it useful for big oil tankers, which rarely touches ports and mostly discharges on anchorage, and which has the maximum use of auxiliary boilers? So what is the saving percentage of it? If it is doing through VLCC, what is the saving percentage of it? Thank you.
Thank you. E2, do you have any research on VLCCs? If you have, you
Yes,
can
sir.
share that. Or if you want to share that later, you
Yes.
can do that.
So I would like to add upon a point
Sure.
with respect to the VLCCs. Nowadays, we also have barges that provide electric batteries. They provide batteries like the barges that give us fuel. So that helps support our proposal of using the electric boiler, and you can run the same even though the shore-based power supply will not be able to accommodate the VLCCs. Thank you.
Thank you. And as delegates may note, we are running a bit behind schedule, but it is interesting. So let us continue. Kolkata, even you may now introduce your paper.
Good afternoon, respectable Chief Guest, Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, and earnest delegates. In order to improve the overall efficiency and also reduce the carbon footprint, our paper emphasizes on using an alternative propulsion system, which is electric propulsion system. where the generator is powered by hydrogen fuel cells. The first part of the paper deals with how electric propulsion system works and its advantages. Now, let's focus on towards its advantages. Electric propulsion eliminates the need for a large amount of space between the diesel engine and the propeller shaft, improves ship's navigation economy, and can effectively enhance the ship's handling, mobility, and reliability. However, the diesel or petrol engine ships cause exhaust emissions and oil and water leakage. Therefore, we have replaced the main engine diesel generator with hydrogen fuel cells, which convert chemical energy into electrical power generation equipment. Now, why did we choose hydrogen as an alternative fuel? Hydrogen fuel cells are advantageous over any other alternative fuels in that they are emission free, production is abundant whether produced through electrolysis or by means of wind or solar power, and lastly, produces no sound in engines, thereby causing less sound pollution. Here, the two major types of fuel cells, proton exchange membrane fuel cell and high temperature fuel cell, are elaborated. The next part of the paper deals with the various alternative storage methods brought into application with the advancing technology like ammonia based storage method, CO2 methanol based storage method, liquid, solid, or compressed hydrogen storage method. There are various problems related to its uses, but our proposal ensures that all these obstacles are resolved. This table has enlisted in it the challenges and the solutions related to the four basic difficulties of hydrogen fuel cells. The first drawback of this system is the installation of the fuel cells on board ship, since it depends on the ship's reliability, stability, hybrid energy management system, and storage. Optimum vessel routes can be used for this purpose, and also the different storage methods as discussed above. Moving on to the next point, the major difficulty of this system is the exorbitant cost of the hydrogen fuel cells and the lack of logistics and transport infrastructure. Mass production of fuel cells will of course solve this problem, but why don't we look for a permanent solution? The cost of making these fuel cells are high because of the use of platinum as a catalyst. Researchers have developed a hydrogen fuel cell that uses iron, carbon, and nitrogen materials that are cheap and readily available, enabling greater use of technology. Lastly, application of hydrogen are not only confined to propulsion system but can also be used in internal combustion engines, gas turbine, compressor pumps, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. To conclude, I would like to add that we have made this proposal in line with an ongoing push by the maritime community to reduce the ship emission to satisfy IMO MARPOL Annex 6 regulations and limit the sulfur content of ships from 1st January 2020 to 0.5% worldwide. Many ship owners are starting to consider hydrogen fuel cell technology to satisfy evolving emission regulations. We would request the organization to take steps in accordance with our proposal. Thank you everyone for your kind attention, and now we are open to interventions.
Thank you very much, Even Kolkata, for introducing hydrogen fuel cells as your proposed way forward. I open the floor for interventions. E2 Mumbai, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, respected Chair. Congratulate even for a good idea about new technologies. My question and my add-on is that, sir, and our team also proposed marine electric boilers. So in the same system, they proposed the electric propulsion system. So the onshore power supply, which is given by the port authorities, and also onshore power supply from the ports should be from a renewable source. So the IMO should be more focus on this onshore power supply should be from a renewable source. Then only these ideas will be going for a reduction in GHG.
Thank you very much, E2 Mumbai. Yes, the ports are also an integral part, and if they are moving to shore power, which is from renewable source, a lot of energy on board which is transferred could be from renewable. Point well noted, and I'm sure other delegates are also noting that. A2 Kochi, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving us this opportunity to intervene. So we are glad to see that the delegates of EVAN has introduced hydrogen fuel cells in their paper, which is in line with our own proposal. So we would like to offer our collaboration and support to EVAN for the same. Also, it is mentioned in their paper that the CF factor of biodiesel is 3.151. So we would like to seek for a clarification on how it is derived. Thank you.
On biofuel, the carbon factor, would you like to respond to that, Kolkata even? In case you require to get back to your team and give a technical answer, you can do that. And primarily, we can focus on hydrogen fuel cells at the moment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ivan. But please do check your research on that and give a feedback to A2 Kochi regarding that.
Yes, sir.
C2 Mumbai Zone 2, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for giving me this. First, we would like to congratulate the delegation of E1 for the extensive research. At the same time, we would like some clarification on the timelines they're working with and the cost that would be incurred in the retrofitting of ships and ports for the bunkering of hydrogen, because the maritime industry is not really accrued with hydrogen as of now. At the same time, we would also like some clarification of biofuels, but I think I'll reserve that for E1 for a later time.
Thank you. Thank you. Even would you like to respond to that if you have got a timeline schedule?
Yes, sir. So the main topic behind our proposal is that we want to incorporate hydrogen fuel cell for the propulsion of ship. We have not thought of shore. Like when the ship is propelling, the generator, which usually uses a diesel generator, will be replaced by the hydrogen. And as of now, as it is stated by the delegate, that our hydrogen has not found, it's not researched much, and also about the biofuel thing. Like I have preferred hydrogen over any other biofuel because the most important point I'm looking after is the reduction of GHG emissions. And for hydrogen, it is absolutely zero carbon emissions, and we have solved all the problems, like the storage problem. That we can store hydrogen on board, we can produce hydrogen through various storage methods which are cost efficient and are much more cost efficient. And when we look at the storage method, like it's based on the weight of the tank, we can during the propulsion of the ship, the fuel which is usually on board is not as per the chattered voice, like it is the bunkering frequency is high, so the energy content we can decrease, and also we can use volume exchange tanks. So we are working on that, sir.
Thank you very much. And as you might have heard from other delegates, they would also like you to look at the shore angle of it, the supply of hydrogen, how that will reach the ship. So that aspect, if also, since you are doing a lot of research work, if you could take up and come up with further submissions on that as you do the extensive research. So,
yes, sir.
Thank you very much, delegates. And with this, I declare this MEPC session as over. We are a bit behind schedule. I would just request Chief Guest and Dr. Mani Shankar. I hope you bear with us for this 10 to 15 minutes extra time we are taking. But I'm sure the discussions from the students are more than offsetting that. So, with your permission, I would now like to start the MSc session with the 4 teams participating, which are Kolkata A2, Mumbai 2 A2, Kolkata B1, and Kolkata E1, and I'll be calling you in that sequence of order. I trust all of these have joined in, Dr. Yogmala. Okay, I see them on the screen. Great. So I now, with the permission of all those present, start the MSc session. The MSc session is now commencing. Welcome, delegates. Welcome to this MSc session, and we look forward to hearing about your papers. I now request Kolkata A2 to introduce their paper.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to the respected Chief Guest, Vice Chancellor Ma'am, and all delegates present here. Our paper studies the risks related to use of LNG as a marine fuel. Now, the IMO regulations of 2020 target ship emissions on a global scale, bringing down the sulfur content bar of fuels from 3.5% to a mere 0.5% and even to 0.1% in certain areas. This makes HFO the dominating fuel, unviable for future ships, as it accounts for 18 to 30% of worldwide NOx emissions and 9% of global SOx emissions. Hence, this paper focuses on LNG, which is a transition fuel that has the potential to astronomically reduce emissions, bringing down NOx emissions by a staggering 98%, SOx by 97%, and CO2 by 15%. It has already been accepted by the shipping industry as an alternate fuel, with over 668 LNG fueled vessels already sailing the seas. Now, why did we focus on LNG specifically for this paper? The study is based on multi criteria analysis comparing six alternative fuels for HFO, which are coal, biodiesel, FT diesel, alcohol, hydrogen, and LNG. And LNG came out as the top competitor. While talking about the transition to cleaner fuels, though, we have to look how the alternatives compare to the present source of power. So we compared LNG and HFO on the basis of fuel cost stability, maintenance cost, and environmental impact. In combining a result, a study shows that LNG has 24% cheaper energy cost per ton when compared to heavy fuel oil. It also has a remarkably lower impact on the environment compared to HFO, as we mentioned before. Now, using LNG to power ships comes with risks of its own, like inexperienced crew, which is not familiar with LNG engines. It can lead to accidents like frost burns, embrittlement due to the gas, and hot vapor release, which can lead to explosions. But a study determined that accidents related to fuel bunkering is the most pressing issue due to a lack of suitable strategy for determining safety zones. The next part of the paper gives an overview on bunkering and methods of bunkering. To study bunkering related accidents and to provide measures to reduce the same, our paper focuses on Port of Kolsnes 1, an LNG export terminal in Norway. We use the database available to analyze the traffic at the port and create adverse scenarios. So, a study is divided into 5 key steps. First is data collection, which is designed to collect and measure vessel and port information. In the second step, we studied situations related to LNG release during bunkering, considering leak rate, leak direction, and wind direction. The next part is frequency analysis. Accidents happen, but how often do they happen? That is the real threat, and we have calculated. In impact analysis, we proceeded to find the impact caused by an accident using the equation on screen, the results of which are shown in the table. The IGF code, which is implemented by flag state, does not contain any specific requirements for the safety zones, hence we have adopted criteria of our own. The risk assessment is the final part of our paper. It combines the results of frequency analysis and results of impact analysis in 2 ways: population independent analysis and population dependent analysis. Now, observing, research reveals that appropriate level of safety zones can be set at 28.8 meters with the risk of fatality at 1 in 10,000 years, and similarly for other distances as shown on screen. Now, during our research, we studied the level of risk associated with LNG bunkering and concluded that a safety distance of 20 to 30 meters should be placed during bunkering. We would like to request the organization to take into account our recommendation as well as other safety concerns expressed in this paper, like inexperienced crew and embrittlement problems, and address them in any future guidelines for using LNG as fuel for ships. Thank you. We are open to interventions.
Thank you very much, A2 Calcutta, and suggesting a zone for LNG bunkering. I invite interventions on the paper. Even Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson, for giving me the opportunity to the floor. Very good paper, A2 Kolkata. We are in collaboration with you for implementation of control zones for LNG bunkering facilities. Coming to my question, I have one question here. That is, as LNG is an expensive non-renewable fuel, when majority of the vessels will use LNG as marine fuel, its cost will rise. How would you tackle the cost surging problem of LNG? Would there be any concessions given by the flag states, or you have some other things in mind which can be implemented? Thank you, sir.
Okay, A2 Kolkata, if you have any specific plans regarding that, you can advise the forum regarding it.
Yes, sir. So actually, the LNG prices have been rising, as you pointed out, and they are projected to unfortunately rise till 2025. But LNG also comes with the added benefit of removing the use of scrubbers and other expensive equipment, which will lead to reduced cost and will ultimately make LNG a viable fuel. And also, we have to look at it with the perspective of alternative fuels. LNG is still the best alternative fuel that we have, and hence we have to put up with the prices. If any concessions are given by flag states, it will be an added bonus, but there are no plans for it right now.
Thank you for their flag. they do not have plans, but if any member states come up with some other solutions, please do share them with other member states. B1 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the floor. My question to Team A2 is, as you have considered truck-to-vessel bunkering method for determining safe zone of bunkering, do we need further research and collaboration for preparing the safety guidelines when ship-to-ship bunkering is concerned?
Okay, your specific query is ship-to-ship bunkering. A2 Kolkata, have you considered that and would you like to respond on that?
Yes, sir. Actually, the determination of safety zones, we have specifically limited it to truck to ship because that is the most widely used form of bunkering. But the safety zone concept can be applied to ship and other methods of bunkering as well. And we have plans to collaborate with Team B1 to expand on that.
Okay, I'm sure then that will lead to some research being done and would lead to some information for the committee to consider in future. Thank you very much for your introduction and the interventions. I see no further cards on the table, so I am going to ask Mumbai 2A2 to introduce their paper.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to all dignitaries, judges, and my fellow mates. I would like to thank all to provide us through this session a golden opportunity to present the highlight of our paper introduced earlier, which stresses on onboard safety issue in regard to usage of VLSFO for engine operation and measures to deal with them. As introduction in our paper, we have started with definitions, compositions of heavy fuel oil, cold flow properties of heavy fuel oil, and VLSFO, and some general informations on heavy fuel oils. Moving ahead to the next part of our paper, we have discussed why to consider VLSFO and not any alternative fuel. As we did our research, keeping a developed country in our mind, for example, a country like USA, the research on VLSFO by such a country assumes much significance on its economy owing to its large oil reserves. Apart from that, VLSFO is most widely used fuel in market and transition to a new fuel will cost much money and time. So researching on VLSFO is more relevant idea. Further, we have discussed a case study in our paper which supports our finding that VLSFO usage is causing blockage of filters, choking purifiers less specific with abnormal wax formation. This requires enhanced and strenuous human effort on board and which may also result in personal injury while handling the above affected equipments. To counter the above situations and make onboard machinery and personnel safe, we propose the following. Firstly, we recommend addition of effective additives. By adding certain additives, cool filter point and pour point of VLSFO can be decreased, which may help vessel to navigate trouble-free even in colder region. Further, the reduction of CFPP and pour point may facilitate vessel to safely keep the VLSFO's temperature around 10 degree more than pour point, thereby eliminating any trouble arising related to VLSFO's viscosity. Our second proposal is incorporating use of pre-flow. It is a type of an antigen which not only reduces the pour point of VLSFO but also changes the morphology of wax particles that makes them even smaller than before and thus they can easily pass through fine fuel oil filters. This is a big plus point. Adding pre-flow in appropriate proportions gives us different results as shown in the table. Thirdly, by employing preheated casing for fuel filters, wax particles formed will melt before fully collecting and blocking the filters. Fourthly, we propose that bunker supplier must provide sufficient data for cold flow properties like CFPP for VLSFO prior bunkering to enable onboard personnel to understand the fuel supplied well. We support making them declaration as mandatory upon bunker suppliers. Finally, last but not the least, we propose mandatory training. As we know, VLSFO is not a very old fuel and it has certain problem of its own arising because of its constituents and blending process used in its manufacturing. Appropriate and effective training should be provided to the seafarers to handle this fuel safely. Well, that is all we propose through our research to enhance safety on board during VLSFO's usage. We sincerely appreciate your attention this afternoon and that brings us to the end of our paper. Thanking you all in anticipation.
Thank you very much, Mumbai 2A2. And On VLFSO, I open the floor for interventions. A2 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for providing the opportunity to speak. The suggestion for using pre-flow gel reduce some of the critical hiccups of using fuel in cold climates. But could you clarify the cost associated with this additive and how it stands with the additives currently used in our countries?
Okay, if I understand correctly, you want to know the financial advantages of the proposed additive from Mumbai to A2. Uh, Mumbai to A2, would you be able to share data on if any commercial analysis has been done, or if you could do that later and share it with A2 Kolkata so that they could also explore such additives? If that is in order, can we move on A2 Kolkata to E1 Kolkata? If that is okay with you, if they share such analysis with you later?
Yes, sir.
E1 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Very good presentation by Team A2. I wanted to intervene here that the pre-flow solutions to VLSFO, it leads to increase in the formulation of flocculations or sometimes precipitation of sludge that also can occur. This can possibly block the filters and the purifiers. How would you wish to tackle that as a solution?
Would you like to respond to that, Mumbai to A2?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, giving me the opportunity to answer. I agree to what even team has asked. According to the researches done by the companies, it's very less chance of flocculation or blocking of the filters which are blocked. Uh, I don't think that it will block the filters because according to the researches, there is no cases and the test was smoothly done.
Thank you. And if you could share some of those results with even Kolkata, that would be helpful. I have the card of B1 Kolkata. B1 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the chance to speak. My intervention to Team A2 Mumbai is a solution mentioned in your paper is heating of filter control such formation. How frequently is the process to be repeated? And can there be adverse effects due to overheating, such as lowering of fuel viscosity?
Would you like to respond to that, Mumbai to A2?
Yes, sir.
Mumbai
Yes.
to A2, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I will answer that question. I appreciate that point given by Team B1. What actually the heating filters proposal is this? We don't. It's an emergency proposal. Actually, uh, heating filters is not a general proposal that we have to apply. After adding additives, if certain case appears or certain case sometimes it develop that blockage is there, then we have to heat the filters.
Thank you. If you could share some research on this subsequently with other member states, maybe that would help clear up their doubts or their concerns on this matter. So, if you could do that subsequently, and I see no further interventions, so I'll request Kolkata B1 to kindly take the floor and introduce the paper.
Good afternoon, Honorable Vice Chancellor, respected Chief Guest, and all delegates. As stated in the paper, HFO is being used as a marine fuel, but its high sulfur content interferes with SOLAS regulations and it makes it incompatible with the environment. Moreover, the steps taken to decrease adulteration during supply are also reported in the paper, along with the details of the potential fuel for low carbon emissions according to MARPOL Convention is listed as well. The paper reported how methanol performs as a better marine fuel, its issues related to safety and the precautions while handling fuel on board ship, with the SOLAS amendments for using fuels with low flash points. Methanol has emissions that are on par with LNG, also being less expensive to modify engines, and when used in fuel cell, it requires only 30% additional space to maintain vessel's operational range. When advantages are concerned, methanol, which can be made by renewable resources, is a clean fuel which, when burnt, releases less smoke causing pollutants. Moreover, it is one of the top 5 chemical compounds sent worldwide. It also proved to have a remarkable history of safe handling and is biodegradable. For dealing with the fuel, specified information must be written on the label of the fuel sample, as mentioned. The majority of issues with fuel splash point is addressed in SOLAS rules and IMO approved safety regulations. Regarding supply chain, the organization must collaborate with flag states to establish checkpoints wherever possible throughout the transportation route to ensure good quality fuel. Methanol bunkering is quite similar to marine gas oil bunkering. However, there are some challenges related to its toxicity and flammability, which has been addressed in the paper, which includes sufficient ventilation and separation from other areas by gas-tight bulkheads. When fuel cell is concerned, there has been significant increase in fuel cell efficiency, reaching up to 90% by using waste heat recovery system when compared to internal combustion engine that gives half of the output. Additionally, using HTPEM fuel cell has benefits such as low sensitivity to impurities, fuel flexibility, and smaller size as compared to other fuel cells. We have mentioned the precautions to be taken while using steam reformers and HTPEM fuel cell, such as instrumentation consideration, combustion control systems, and personal protection equipment in reformer area. For steam reformers and instructions while using fuel cells include keeping inlet relative humidity in check and making arrangements for platinum recycling and using stack heating system during startup. As carbon capture system is concerned, integration of carbon capture system with fuel cell will help in utilizing released carbon dioxide to synthesize e-methanol, thus ideally reaching net zero emission and forming a closed loop system where fuel can be regenerated from exhaust. Concluding the paper, we would request the organization to consider the regulatory gaps in IGF code regarding use of fuel cell along with the safety measures as mentioned in the paper, and assessment of methanol specific safety aspects for bunkering operations while preparing the revised guideline, which would also help pave way for future fuels. We would further request the member states to consider the proposal for collaboration on use of carbon capture system on board and improve upon the facilities for debunkering, which will help prevent financial loss of shipowners. Thank you. We are now open for questions.
Thank you very much, Kolkata B1. And I open the floor for interventions. Kolkata A2, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for opening the floor. The contents of your paper solidify the prospect of using fuel cells in the shipping industry, but it comes with unique risk. Can you shed some light on the individual risk associated with the usage of these cells and probable solutions we could work on to reduce those risks?
Would you like to respond to that, Kolkata B1, as what risk you associate with this fuel cells?
Yes, sir. So first of all, we would like to highlight the fact that the IGF code has not been fully developed about the use of methanol on board ships, and so there are quite some safety issues that need to be addressed. So instead of analyzing each concern individually, we have directly mentioned the precautions such as the use of PPE kits in the reformer areas to for prevention against toxicity of the fuel and the provisions for basic combustion hazards. And we urge the organization to work on the same. However, for a detailed study, you can refer to the base papers which have been mentioned at the end of our report.
Thank you. And the committee would look forward to submissions with specific concrete proposals on what could be taken up with respect to methanol from interested member states. I see the card of E1 MSc Kolkata. E1 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Very well presentation by Team B1 of convincing us that ethanol is the fuel for the future. But I would like to raise an intervention here as to the energy density of methanol and LNG are almost similar. What are the reasons for the team to prefer methanol over the LNG?
Would you like to respond to that, Kolkata B1?
Yes, sir. So, sir, as the delegate of E1 pointed out that the energy densities are same. However, methanol requires less storage space and is more economically feasible for use. Also, when combined with the fuel cell, the efficiency of power conversion is improved. So, these points led us to consider methanol for use on board ship.
Thank you. And like as we all discuss about which fuel is the best, the pros and cons of each one would possibly also be region dependent as to the availabilities, etc. So maybe you can share notes over a tea break and discuss further on this. A2 Mumbai 2, the floor is yours for your intervention.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for providing us the floor. We appreciate the research of Team B1, but we were very curious to know about one thing. If methanol is such a good fuel as research says, then why the ships like Stena Line, as Team B1 mentioned in last PPT session, which are currently using the latter fuel, are also relying on diesel fuel for emergency?
So what you're saying is, are they feeling it is not reliable enough to keep an alternative fuel on board? It could possibly be linked to availability also, but I will let Kolkata B1 respond on it.
Yes, sir. So, sir, as the delegate of Team A2 pointed out, that Stena Alliance is also using HFO. However, their use of methanol was a step towards introducing a fuel which will be most suitable for the future, taking into consideration the latest guidelines approved by IMO for emissions. And we would also like to point out here that other than Stena Lines, Maersk Lines has also put into order, I guess, about 11 ships which are supposed to be run on methanol. So these points need to be considered while asking whether if a company needs to currently use methanol or not.
Thank you. As far as the Secretariat also has information, methanol carriers are one of the easiest ones to adopt to methanol as a fuel because supply would be one thing. But as member states further progress their research, it would be interesting to keep getting paper submissions on this so that we can keep getting all the information to all the delegations and do further work on alternate fuels. With that, I request Kolkata E1 to take the floor and introduce the paper.
A very good afternoon to all the delegates and to the chairperson and to the esteemed guests today. We Team E1 would like to present our ideas on development of measures to mitigate LNG risk and safety principles as a marine fuel. When it comes to LNG as an alternative fuel, the green fuel is witnessing a rapid movement in its bunker infrastructure. The benefits not only lie in its competitive prices, but also the reduced harmful emissions. LNG vessels reduce the CII index and the EEDI indexes by 20% and the GHG emissions by 23%, NOx by 80%. However, the exact safety and the various qualitative risk assessment is still not very much in light. Before coming to safety handling procedures of alternative fuels, it's important to know the different kinds of hazards that LNG can propose to. There are the flash fire, spill fire, explosion, asphyxiation, and brittle fracture. Coming to safe handling of the fuel, QRA or the qualitative risk assessment is a technique shown alongside for defining the associated with an operation, the severity of its impact, and the likelihoods of its occurrence is essential elements for the same. The risk assessment should include the hazard identification, the risk assessment, the consequence modeling, the frequency estimation, and the risk assessment. The risk criteria of the risk assessment is stated below. The risk criteria framework deals with the risks and measurements to mitigate them based on the factors like probability, severity, and benefits of reduction, and the proper definition of control zones, which is one of our main proposals here today. The control zones should be come into place wherein they will be separated into three zones. That is the for the hazard purposes. For another aspect of the this control zone should be put into place. Our one final aspect being the LNG safe handling with methane slip, comprising of 85 to 95% of methane, which is a global warming potential of 80 times the carbon dioxide emissions from the two-stroke and four-stroke engines. MAN BMW for its two-stroke diesel engines include injection of the gaseous fuel when the combustion occurs. The following research focuses on the research and development for reducing the methane slip for the four-stroke engine. Finally, concluding, the paper has emphasized on the use of LNG as an efficient alternative complying with regulations and good for the environment and its various hazard and the comprehensive risk assessment, proper crew training and incident reporting to reap its benefit as a marine fuel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kolkata Even, and thank you for bringing up methane slip into the picture, which is impacting the life cycle analysis. A2 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson, for opening up the floor. The paper from Team E1 is in line with our research, and I believe with shared resources, we can further expand on our solutions. A very important point that Team E1 has highlighted in their paper was various LNG hazards. How can our crews better equip themselves to deal with these hazards or to prevent them altogether?
Thank you, Ivan, for your question. Obviously, I'll be looking forward to collaboration on the implementation of control zones for the safe LNG bunkering. Coming to the crew training part, in place we have the octo courses and various courses which deal with just the handling of the gaseous cargo, that is LNG or other or fuels that are there. But the exact safety criterions or the safety guidelines are not in place as of now for the exact crew training for having LNG as a fuel. So we'll be looking forward to other committees coming together to finalize on the same.
Thank you, Even Kolkata, for your prompt response to that. And we look forward to detailed submissions on this aspect as you go along. I see the card of A2 Mumbai up. A2 Mumbai, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for providing us the floor. Firstly, we appreciate the extensive research work of the team E1, but we would like to know the same that when both LNG and methanol have almost same energy density, methanol engine construction cost approximately 1% less than LNG. It is easier to handle and bunkering infra is also easier and cheaper for methanol. And why the team E1 has chosen LNG over methanol? Thank you.
I think we had one perspective from another team on that, but I would request Evan to give their view also. Evan, the floor is yours.
Currently, LNG has been in use for the shipping industry for the last 12 years. Currently, there are 833 confirmed LNG fuel ships and 229 additional LNG-ready ships. So I believe the industry has taken into consideration the implementation of LNG as a better alternative fuel due to its presence or its availability in almost all parts of the world for and easier types of bunker facilities. So that is why we chose LNG, because it's a already proven fuel, and thus because there are already a large number of ships fleet which are in operation or going to be in operation, we believe that the safety aspect should be taken into consideration before we move forward with the fuel for the future.
Thank you, Evan, for your perspective on that. B1 Kolkata, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, sir, for giving me the floor. My question to Team E1 is, as the paper mentions bunkering during simultaneous operations, what could be the optimum approach for it during emergency conditions?
I think I heard a loud noise. I couldn't hear your question. Could you kindly repeat that?
Yes, sir. So my question to Team E1 is, as your paper mentions bunkering during simultaneous operations, what would be the optimum approach for it during emergency conditions?
Would you like to respond to that? Kolkata, Evan?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. The simultaneous operations approach that we have mentioned here, the port authorities should establish the requirements and limit for the simultaneous operations. The bunker or receiving vessels approved the operational documentation should include the risk mitigations for the concurrent activities, because simultaneously we have a lot of port handling unloading and loading of cargo that takes place. So this should be included in the bunker checklist that must be present before starting the actual process itself. So we believe the port authorities and the flag states should come into play while simultaneous operations to ensure the maximum safety as possible.
So we would request member states to have this coordination, and if they could come up with some concrete proposal in the future, considering that yes, LNG bunkering is going to be quite prevalent, considering the large fleet which has moved into dual fuel engines and LNG bunkers. So with that, delegates, thank you very much for your participation in today's discussions, and I close this session of MSC. And back to the session. We are a bit behind schedule at this stage. We were supposed to take a tea break of 15 minutes, which would have facilitated the judges to consolidate their views and have the results ready for us. Uh, can I request Gaurav, if it is in order, can we request Chief, can we not take the break, request Mr. Sukumaran to address us while the judges, if they are agreeable to that, they could work out the results for us and we could then have the results after hearing Mr. Sukumaran's views? Would that be okay with the judges?
Ramurthy here. I think it is better that we take only 5 minutes, not more than that, and we'll be ready. So 5 minutes you give us, we'll be ready. Then after that, the results will be all. Wait for the chief guest to know the results before he addresses us.
How much break do we take, sir?
5 minutes.
Can I request everybody to rejoin in 5 minutes so that we can stick to the time schedule, or we want 15 minutes for a tea break? I am.
No. For judges need for their tea only 5 minutes.
Can I check with Dr. Mani Shankar, ma'am? Is 5 minutes okay? Then we'll stick to 5 minutes. Considering the session has run up by about 15 minutes extra.
I think Rajiv, we can join back around 4:30.
4:30, sir. Okay, so that I think solves. We will get back together at 4:30, and we look forward to hearing that time from Mr. Ramamurthy, and then we'll hand over to you, sir.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Very nice.
Thank you, sir. 4:30, please. We assemble back together. Sir, हाँ मैडम.
Uh, good evening, chair, and good evening, all.
Sir, I'll just give a brief introduction to the prizes.
No, we are back. I just want to say we aren't going to start. We have to say we are back.
My God, what a tough job.
My apologies, sir, for jumping to conclusion. Right, and Mr. Datta there, Mr. Kumaran is there. Mr. Datta is there.
Yes, sir, I'm there very much.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the program for which everyone so eagerly waits, especially the participants who have put in so much of effort and time. And the announcement of the prizes, I think everybody will agree wholeheartedly that the participants have turned in a superlative performance to say the least and billing all expectations. And the wholehearted participation of the Indian shipping industry, I think, has been the icing on the cake. Not to take away any glory from the winners, I would like to just say that despite whoever wins the prizes today, the winner is Maritime India, because everybody has worked together for this. Uh, as going on to the prizes, we will start with the MEPC prizes. There are 6 prizes. First prize, first runner-up, second runner-up, and 3 consolation prizes. The winners also get a rolling trophy. The first prize is 18,000 rupees. The first runner-up is 12,000 rupees. The second runner-up is 10,000 rupees.
and the three consolation prizes are 5,000 rupees each. All the MEPC prizes, including the rolling trophy, have been sponsored by the Institute of Marine Engineers. MSc prizes, there are four prizes. First prize, first runner-up, second runner-up, and one consolation prize. The uh, and the winners get a rolling trophy also. The prize amounts are the same. That is, first prize 18,000 rupees, first runner-up 12,000 rupees, second runner-up 10,000 rupees, and consolation prize and one consolation prize 5,000 rupees. The NSC prizes, including the rolling trophy, have been sponsored by the DMAT Mary Ex-Cadets Association. May I now call upon Mr. Ramamurthy to first declare the NETC prizes.
Thank
Mr.
you. Thank you very much, Mr. Garo Agarwal. Now, first of all, I want to say, we as judges, that is Dr. Saxena, Mr. Malhotra, Mr. Datta, and myself, we thoroughly, enjoyed the participation by the students. And it's really remarkable, very, very innovative, thought provoking, and most of them pose challenges not only to us here, but also challenges to international community. It is such a wonderful presentations. It's very, very amazing to see that just within 2 3 years of they are being exposed to maritime information and maritime industry, they have come up with such very nice papers and presentations. So first of all, our congratulations to all of them. And this is something the judges very much appreciate. We as judges individually evaluated every one of them on merits. After individually evaluating, we compared our scores, and collectively then we came to the conclusion on the awards. Now, this is something which we want to say very much, that the final awards were decided after individually evaluating by each individual on their performances. Now, I will very much like and invite Dr. Saxena to come with the announcement of these results. And thank you so much. And I really appreciate the, the particular event. My best wishes to the chief guest, to VC Dr. Malini Shankar, the chairperson, the coordinators, and all the guides, and all the participants and the students. And then I'm actually going off, and I'll ask Dr. Saxena to join and announce the prizes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ramamurthy. He has passed on the main job to me conveniently. Yeah, I think I have to start off with what Dr. Mali Shankar said, that in future, definitely some of these speakers will be representing India in IMO. There's no doubt about it. I want to compliment each, not only each team, but each member of every team which have made it up to here, or even those who could not make it here. Okay. I think excellent initiative by the Indian Maritime University, supported by DMICA and also the MEI. Okay. The results have been based on the individual submission, then the presentations which were made on the 1st and 2nd October, and the presentations which were made today. Okay. So we'll start off, as Gaurav had suggested, we'll start off with MEPC first. So we have total 6 teams, and we propose that besides the first and the second runner-up and the first, the 3 should be given the consolation prizes. So that's our proposal. Okay. So the first consolation prize goes to Cochin A2. The second consolation prize, Mumbai 1 A3. The third consolation prize, Mumbai 2 C2. Okay. Am I going fast or you want me to? Okay. Then we come to the second runners up, that is the third position, goes to Kolkata C1. Kolkata C1. The first runner up, that is the second position, goes to Kolkata E1, Echo 1, E1. And obviously the winners, undoubtedly very clear, Mumbai 1 E2. Mumbai 1 E2. Congratulations to all of them. Yeah. Gaurav, should we go to MSC now?
Yes, sir. If just some time could be given on each slide. So I think the slide.
Okay. Wait. So as I was telling earlier, it's been a big challenge for all four of us. It's not an easy job. Especially reading all the papers. Yes. Yeah, sorry, Gaurav.
Dr. Yomala, the NSC slides are ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please, sir. Dr. Saxena, please.
Yeah. Okay, so MSc, there were four papers shortlisted for today's event. So one of them gets the consolation and the other three get the first, second, and third prize. So the consolation prize goes to Kolkata B1. Kolkata B1. Okay. The second runners up, that is.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Sorry for the interruption. 1 minute. Radish?
We show the slides, sir.
Okay, I'll just wait. So thank you for reminding me. Yes.
Yes.
Because we.
Radish?
Yeah. Oh, good.
So this is Kolkata E1. This is first.
This is the consolation prize. This is the first. Okay.
Team member Vivek Kumar, Ankur Kundu, Sayak Sen, Zonal Coordinator Mr. S.K. Sinha, Campus Coordinator Mr. Sachin Kumar Madan, and Guide Mr. Sunayan Sanathan.
Oh, okay. All right. So we go to the second runners up. That is the third position. Mumbai 2 A2.
Mumbai 2 A2 is third, and that is the Navi Mumbai campus. Team leader Divyang Rajkumar Raut, Zonal Coordinator Captain A.K. Muzumdar, Campus Coordinator Captain Parag Malhotra, and Guide Mr. David Bivak. They get a prize of rupees 10,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. The first runner-up, that is the second position, goes to Kolkata E1, Echo 1, E1.
Kolkata Echo 1 is the Kolkata campus of the Indian Maritime University. Team leader.
Yeah, this is the same one as
Gaurav, that was B1. Kolkata B1.
These are the same participants.
This is correct. This is the correct one. So this is the Kolkata campus of the Indian Maritime University. Team leader Mr. Anirban Bhattacharjee. Team member Mr. Rizvi Kumar, Ankur Kundu, Sayak Sen. Zonal Coordinator Mr. S.K. Sinha, Guide Mr. Sunayan Sanatri, and Campus Coordinator Mr. Sachin Kumar Madan. Well done, team.
Yeah, well done. So we come to the first position, and I'm so very happy that out of these four, three are from my own alma mater, DMET. I like to call it DMET. Okay. So the first position goes to Kolkata A2.
Kolkata A2 is the Kolkata campus of Indian Maritime University. Team leader Mr. Raghav Dhaka. Team members Rustam Raj, Yash Mukherjee, Anna DM. Zonal Coordinator Mr. S.K. Sinha. Campus Coordinator Mr. Sachin Kumar Madan. And last but not the least, Guide Mr. Sunayan Sanathan. Very well done.
Yeah. Sorry we rushed through the MEPC.
We can do it. Can we?
I think maybe you can scroll the slides once again, MEPC, because.
Yes, sir. You can repeat it once again, sir.
Yeah, please.
Ratish, please.
Yeah, because I didn't know that you were going to speak and all that. Sorry.
Yes.
So our mistake, sir. We should have briefed in time.
So you can announce, sir. He's there.
Yeah. All right. So, no, you have to bring the MEPC first. Yeah.
It's ready, sir. You please announce.
Okay. Okay. So MEPC, the first consolation prize once again is Cochin A2. Cochin A2. Do you have the slide, please?
Yes.
1 minute, sir. It has to take.
Kochi A2, very well done. This is the Kochi A2 team is the Kochi campus of the Indian Maritime University. Team leader K. Chandrakant, team members Arshad, Anish, and Ashok. Zonal coordinator Mr. Rudraranjan, campus coordinator Mr. Dr. Arvind P.S. and ably guided by Mr. Devgop Kami.
The second consolation prize is Mumbai 1A3. Mumbai 1A3.
Mumbai 1A3 is Anglo-Eastern Maritime Academy, Karjat. Team leader Akash Malviya, team members Nikhil Chauhan, Akshay Rana, and Aman Bakshi. Zonal coordinator Shri Hareram Hare, college coordinator Shri Tejinder Singh Bhamra, and guide Mr. Mohan Singh Pal.
The third consolation prize is Mumbai 2 C2.
Mumbai 2 C2 is the Tulani Maritime Institute. Team leader Ansh Singh Rajpal, team members Aditya Singh, Abhishek Kumar, Aryan Naidu. Zonal coordinator Captain A.K. Mazumdar, campus coordinator Captain Parag. No, Captain, this will be different. Guide Mr. David Birwadkar.
The second runners up, that is the third position, Kolkata C1.
Kolkata C1 team was the Kolkata campus of the Indian Maritime University. Team leader Radhika Kumari, team members FM Shreyas, Rohit Singh, and Sachin Kumar. Zonal coordinator Shri S.K. Sinha, campus coordinator Shri Sachin Kumar Badan, and ably guided by Mr. Sunayan Sinha.
The first runner-up, that is the second position, Kolkata E1, Echo 1.
I think there was a mistake in the NSP slide. The guide was Captain N.C. Yadav. My apologies, Captain Yadav, there was a mistake somewhere. The guide for Kolkata campus, Kolkata zone, NSP is Captain Yadav. Anyway.
Now we are doing MEPC.
Yes,
the first one is left.
No, after seeing Sanatli's name on both sides, I realized there was
okay.
The first one didn't get announced.
Yeah, first one is still left. Yeah.
Winner, please.
Can I go ahead if the slide is ready?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Okay. So the winners of MEPC presentation is the team, the number one team, Mumbai 1 Echo 2, E2. Mumbai 1 E2.
Mr. Ravindran Pillai. Hari Krishnan Ravindran Pillai.
Pradesh?
Yeah. Oh, they're from Anglo-Eastern. Oh, well done.
This is the first.
Good.
So, winners of the MEPC segment, Team E2 from Mumbai 1 Zone, Anglo-Eastern Maritime Academy. Karjat, team leader Ajit. Team members Harikrishan Ravindran Pillai, Akshay Mohandas, Jitin Pulai Kodi, Zonal coordinator Shri Hareram Hare, college coordinator Mr. Bhamra, and guide Shri Mohan Singh Pal.
Thank you. Congratulations to all the winners. And on behalf of all the judges, I want to thank the organizers for giving us this responsibility. Thank you. Back to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now,
Gaurav, I think one name of a participant was missing, Cadet Susanta Mukherjee. Cadet Susanta, no problem. We'll take care of that. Your certificate will definitely be there.
Her name is Susnata or Susanta?
2018.
I think it is Susnata.
We will confirm.
Yeah.
Susnata.
Susnata. It's not Susata. It is Susnata.
Yeah.
Susnata.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Ramamurthy, Dr. Saxena, Mr. Mehrotra, and Mr. Datta for the assessments. And I'm sure it was a very difficult task. We now come towards the close of our session, and I would actually like to thank Mr. Ajit Kumaran for sparing his valuable time today to join us as chief guest. I am sure his mere presence here has motivated the delegates to put their best foot forward. Introducing him, Mr. Sukumaran is a mechanical engineer and he completed his post-graduation in maritime operations and management from IIT Kharagpur. He has been with DG Shipping for over 18 years and is presently Chief Surveyor to the Government of India. Mr. Sukumaran has represented India on numerous occasions in IMO meetings and was the leader of the Indian delegation at MEPC 76. May I now call upon our chief guest, Mr. Ajit Kumar Sukumaran, Chief Surveyor to Government of India, to kindly share his views with us. Mr. Sukumaran.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gaurav. Respected Vice Chancellor Mali ma'am, distinguished judges, the organizers, other attendees, and my dear students who participated in this program. Listening to the frequent references to developing nations, developed countries, SIDS, LDCs, capacity building, technology transfer, carbon capture, so many other things. When we are frequently listening to words from young bloods like this, I'm sure the distinguished judges and and certainly Manly ma'am also feeling a bit nostalgic about the IMO meetings which they were regularly attending. From my personal note, I think the most cherishing moments of my career could be from the floors of the IMO. The feeling of having the representative face of 1.4 billion people, that means almost 15% of the world population, is not a small thing for any patriotic professional like us. But today, when I'm listening to the cadets, I feel I'm tempted to quote Mr. Masaki Koshimoto, the famous writer and cartoonist from Japan, who said, every new generation will surpass the previous ones. It is a never-ending cycle of life. The best thing is to give them their space and enjoy the evolving world. And this is what I was seeing it for the last 1.5 hours. Leave it to them, to their space, and enjoy the world which they make before us. One thing I'm quite sure that the future of shipping is safe in the hands of these young boys and girls. So thank you very much to the team for having such a wonderful session and so interactive and so responsibly responding to the queries. Thank you very much. And I'm sure Rajiv and my partners in MEPC Shadow Committee and MSC meeting will be having a tougher job, because particularly I'm talking from the present disruptive and transforming era of shipping, where nothing is sure about. Nobody knows, not even the best of the scientists in the world knows what is going to be the leading technologies or leading fuel even for the shipping in the next 5 years or 10 years down the line. So I think we have to look beyond the committees to young blood like this, to have fresh ideas, fresh thought processes, particularly without the intellectual luggage which many of us unfortunately carry. I think this is a best opportunity for us to introspect to our way forward. And certainly, it's a happy moment for me also, because the IMU, which has been labeled by many as a mediocre setup is getting evolved as a premier maritime institute. Thank you very much to Madam Manley ma'am and her team for taking this ahead. And nothing of this sort could have been possible without the alumni, the DMET and the Maria, the cadets, which I mean, the not cadets, the stalwarts now sitting in front of us. Because there is a saying in IITs, IITs never make IITians. On the other hand, IITians make IITs. Similarly, the IMUs do not make seafarers or mariners, but the mariners and seafarers and others professionals who come out of such institute, the torchbearers, the ambassadors, they make that institute prominent, premier, or whatever it could be. And from that aspect, I believe this collaboration between the Institute of Marine Engineers, DMAT experts, IMU, and others is a win-win scenario for all, and it's a welcome scenario even for administration like us, because we have a lot of takeaway from the programs like this. Then specifically coming to the program of today, IMO, all the International Maritime Organization, the name itself is inseparable from the life of any mariner or anybody related with shipping for that matter. Because we may agree or disagree with the regulatory framework which they come up with. Sometimes we may say that they could have done more. Sometimes we say that they are overdoing the things. Whatever be the scenario, what we are today, or what the international shipping today, the major owes to the International Maritime Organization. And their credentials stand the testimony for that. In 2019, if you're seeing the record, the number of loss of life of seafarers at sea was in around 112. Previously, it was something around 56 or something. But compare it to the certain other sides. When the shipping, we are talking about the worldwide shipping, which carries almost 90% of the cargo. But just see from the January 1st to June 30 of 2022, the number of lives lost on the tracks of suburban railway of Mumbai itself was 760. So that is what the safety credentials of the international shipping, and that is what the role which IMO plays in it. Even in the safety and environmental credentials also, there is no match to the things IMO has done. So even with the present scenario also, the effort which they are taking perhaps may not have any parallels in any other transport industry. So how this is happening, I feel, yes, certainly to great extent, the nature of the shipping industry being global in nature, and the maritime administrations or the governments largely accept and recognize that we need global regulations for such an industry. But not that is the end. So I believe the major reason for the worldwide recognition or the acceptance of IMO is the way or manner in which they conduct the business. Because they give the highest of respect to the sovereign rights of every nation. They never get into the shoes of a police. The administration or the enforcement of the regulations which they frame is left to the administration for them to decide and do at their level. Secondly, IMO also recognizes that every nation or every country may not necessarily have the wherewithal to enforce their convention to the fullest extent. And they recognize it, and therefore they come up with several technological support, technical cooperation to the developing the SD, SIDs and its developing countries as well. Thirdly, they recognize, the organization recognizes that the seafarers are key to the success of enforcement of any convention. So the care, compassion, and consideration which IMO provides to the seafarers, perhaps there is no other comparison in any other organization. So from there, if you come to the boys and girls today, what to take away from this kind of sessions, I feel the main thing is the manner in which IMO conducts such meetings, the democratic manner in which they organize and come out with a productive output from such meetings. Imagine 175 members, 3 associate members, 66 intergovernmental organizations having observer status, 85 non-governmental organizations having the consultative status. It is a massive organization and it's a massive meeting. Say for MEPC, MEPC in 5 days they deal with 250 to 300 papers coming from different member states, heavily loaded with the technical aspects. Not only that, it has got to ramifications from the economical side, the social side, and even technological side, which may vary from nation to nation, country to country. But in the history of IMO, there has not been a single decision which has been based on the voting or majority or minority. It has always been based on consensus. That is the beauty of the way in which they conduct the meeting. Why? Because before on the floor of the IMO, every nation or every member state has got equal status. Whether it is the world leader like United States, or its counterparts Russia or China, or the developing economies like India, or the politically cohesive forces like European Union, or even the least developed nations like Barbados, or even Antigua, or even Maldives. They all have equal voice, equal space before the IMO. And in my experience, there has not been a single occasion where the IMO has denied, even in the plenary, even in the most hectic MEPC, an opportunity for any member state if they have raised the card to speak their views and express their views. That is what the beauty of in which they conduct the meeting. What is the essence of that? The essence of that is the mutual respect. That when we feel that we have the right to say something, we also have the responsibility to listen to others. And that is what the essence of IMO meeting. And I'm sure that the best takeaway for our cadets and the students from this kind of meeting. I once again thank the organizers, Manly Ma'am, and all other stalwarts and the industry leaders for inviting me to this function and getting me the opportunity to listen to such new thoughts. So I once again perhaps end my words again quoting something from Louis Armstrong, who said, "I hear the cries of babies. I see them growing in front of me, but I also understand that they learn so fast, much more than what I have done in entire my life. And that is why I say myself, what a wonderful world we have." Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Inspiring words indeed. And thank you for your insight into the working of the IMO. I'm sure it was extremely enlightening for the cadets and the participants. I would now request Dr. Yogmala, Dr. H.L. Yogmala, who is a member of the core committee, and to please deliver the vote of thanks. Dr. Yogmala.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. Respected Chief Guest, Shri Ajit Sukumaran, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Malini Vishankar, Madam, distinguished judges, guides, MEPC Shadow Committee members, principals of IMU affiliated colleges, affiliated college coordinators, zonal coordinators, IMU campus coordinators, students, and ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Yogmala, Chief Coordinator and Core Committee Member of IMO Mock Session Competition 2022, deems immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks for the earnest efforts of all intellectuals who have contributed their time, energy, and devotion for the successful completion of IMO Mock Session Competition 2022. First of all, I would like to express my hearty gratitude to Chief Guest, Shri Ajit Sukumaran sir, on behalf of Indian Maritime University, DMET Mary Alumni, and Institute of Marine Engineers, India, Sir, regardless of your busy schedule, you could make time to be part of this vivacious competition and awarding ceremony. We are obliged for your presence and speech encouraging the future leaders of maritime industry. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your virtual presence and enlightening speech. Judging a competition is not a cakewalk. It requires immense experience, expertise, and positive spirit to serve the community. IMU mock session competition 2022 is judged by four industry stalwarts. Each one of them are finest, outstanding, and efficacious jurors of high moral standards. These judges are Sri M.E. Ramamurthy sir, Dr. B.K. Saxena sir, Sri Dilip Mehrotra sir, and Achinta Vikas Datta sir. All four judges are part of IMO mock session competitions 2022 since last 4 months in spite of their busy schedule. I would like to take this opportunity to express heartfelt thanks to all four judges. Thank you, sirs. We are beholden for the support extended for the future of IMO mock session competition 2020. Every day is a blessing if you have a guide with you. The participants of this competition are tuned by the eminent personalities of the maritime industry. It is because of guides' incessant efforts from the day one we could able to bring an idea into a realization. Our MEPC guides are Sri Mohan Pal Singh sir, Sri Snail Sanatani sir, Sri David Bidwarkar sir, Sri Mahesh Subramanian sir, Sri Devru Kavi sir, and MSc is guided by Captain MC Yadav sir and Sunil Kumar sir, Sri Ritesh Kaushik sir, Captain Paurus Dalal sir, Sri Mahesh Subramanian sir, and Sri Sanjeev Ogle sir. Thank you, sirs, for your wholehearted support for the fruitful conduct of IMO Mock Session Competition 2022. The two esteemed organizations, namely GMET, Mary Alumni, and Mumbai branch of Institute of Marine Engineers, India, partnered with the Indian Maritime University to organize IMO Mock Session Competition 2022. It is my privilege to express hearty gratitude to both organizations for the committed support towards organizing the competition. Thanks for the support extended to organize the IMO Mock Session Competition 2022. It is encouraging that a question of a young cadet nurtured into an epic competition, first time in the history of maritime industry and maritime university, by the Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Malini V. Shankar, IAS retired. I would like to consider this occasion to extend heartfelt thanks to Madam Vice Chancellor on behalf of the core committee and IMU fraternity for hosting the epic competition under her guidance and leadership, without which we wouldn't have reached the success. Thank you, Madam. Thank you very much. Students of 17 IMU affiliated colleges have participated in the IMO mock session competition 2022. It would not have been possible for the successful conduct of the competition without timely support of the principals of IMU affiliated colleges. I would like to express sincere thanks to all the principals of IMU affiliated colleges. Affiliated college coordinators have worked very hard for the facilitation of this competition, and it's a time to thank each one of them in this August gathering. Affiliated college coordinators are MS Sindhupi, CE Praveen Kumar, Mr. Prashant R, Dr. M. Kumaraswamy, Captain Kumar A. Chandanani, and Dr. Sumit Nanavir, and Sri Tejender P.S. Bharma, Captain Jamshed M. Irani, Dr. Anirudh Kumar, and thank you, sirs and madam, for your contribution to the effective conduct of the competition. As events cannot happen in one day without collective effort, the wheel started rolling months ago, and these months have evidenced unconditional support by the zonal coordinators and IMU campus coordinators. I would like to extend hearty gratitude to all the 5 zonal coordinators and 6 IMU campus coordinators, registrar, campus directors, and head ATR. And it is my privilege to thank each one of you for your support, guidance, and enormous cooperation for the successful conduct of this competition. Thank you, sirs. I consider this floor to thank IT support, Mr. Sanjeev Mehra from Institute of Marine Engineers, India, Mr. Shakti Rajan, IMU HQ, and Mr. Radish from Indian Maritime University Kochi campus. Further, I must consider this floor to thank media and press. Thank you on behalf of core committee for being with us in the journey of IMO Monk Session Competition 2022. So the greatest source of our strength, so the greatest source of our strength, the students who stood strong against odds, all odds of technical glitch and made the competition a big success. I thank each one of the student and student representatives for the support extended in spite of their classes. Thank you, students. Thank you very much. Last but not the least, my colleague in the core committee, Sri Rajiv Nair sir, the architect and the man behind the competition, who envisioned that an idea can be nurtured and shaped as an epic competition. After 5 months of continuous efforts, regardless of his busy schedule, we could able to complete the competition at its best. It gives me deep sense of admiration to thank Shri Raju Nair sir for his earnest efforts to make the competition great success. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much on behalf of Indian Maritime University.
Thank you, Yogmada, and look forward to the next edition. We have high responsibilities that are thrust upon you once again. And IMEI. Special thanks to IMEI and DBET and every single person who gave their full, with full conviction and full dedication to this. I'm very, very sure all these students have benefited immensely from this. And, besides the knowledge they take home of IMO conventions and the procedures, I think this is an excellent means of enabling their communication skills, their penchant for research, because that's something which cannot be taught in a classroom. By just doing a whole lot of literature search, research, and being able to write a paper and talk about it, I think that's an equal take home from this entire exercise. So thank you. Thank each one of you. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot. And only I have to now just I have to mention our one of our colleague, Commander Gaurav Agarwal, Indian Navy retired of UMG Mary alumni, and Sri Rajesh Doshi sir of the Institute of Marine Engineers India, who are my colleagues in the core committee, who are the pillars and the greatest support of the core committee. They believe in giving back to the maritime community by guiding the future leaders of the maritime sector. It is an opportunity for me to propose thanks and acknowledge the efforts and effort and passion of fellow core committee members. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks to
have a very good evening. Thank you.
I just have a small announcement, ma'am. Captain NC for the Kolkata zone MSP. It was mistakenly put as something else. Captain NC Yadav was a guide for the Kolkata zone MSP section. This zone won 3 out of 4 of the first position. And Mr. Ritesh Kaushik was the guide for the Mumbai 2 zone MSC. My apologies for the wrong declaration earlier. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
1 minute, sir. Please give me 1 minute. Radish will show the modified slide. Radish, you can upload that. Radish, you can upload the modified slide. Hello. Do first. Put it up.
Is this visible?
Yes, sir.
Not visible now.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, it's the shield which will move from Vizag to Kolkata
okay.
campus.
Can we focus on them? Anyway, the shields are presently at Kolkata campus and Maida campus. They will be sent to the winning team uh, by these campuses.
Sir, Gaurav Agarwal, sir.
Yes,
Radish is telling that it will take time.
Yeah,
So you can announce one more time, sir.
No issue, madam. We have
Sincere apologies.
My apologies again to those whose names were mixed up. But it happened. And thank you everyone. And we hope to see you all again next year at the third edition of the IMO mock session competition 2023. Thank you very much. And namaste.
Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Rajiv must be a relieved man.
Thank you, Rajiv, and thanks all of you. Thank my teachers. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice evening, all of you.
Yeah, chalo. Thank you. Chalo. Yeah. Chalo, bye. I'm closing. Yeah.
Very well organized.
Rai Saab, good to see you.
This compliment, very well organized. It reminded me as if I am at IMO plenary session. Thank you so much.
सर आपके चरणों में सीखा ये सब ऑर्गेनाइजिंग
Nice to see you.
Very well. I must compliment even students for taking so active participation.
They've done very well. They've done very
I
well.
mean, they were very, I must say, informed and well prepared. So the entire team deserve. And Dr. Yogimala, thanks to you also, meeting the first time, but very well organized. Compliments to you and your team.
In fact, I was thinking how a generation, two generation above the present generation can easily, judge. It's very difficult. They are generations below us. Just think of the gap. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. We learned a lot.
That's why we need 4 judges to judge, sir.
Dr. Malini Shankar is one of the motivators to all of us. She did a wonderful job in guiding us when she was at DGS. I still owe a lot of credit to her for guiding the industry, that how India should be projected. I'm happy that even today, under Mr. Sukumaran, the tradition is carrying on.
Thanks all of you. Shall we leave?
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much.
So, bye. NMC, good to see you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rai.